You live on Facebook. It's Monday, May 17th, and I'm going to be doing a reading using the tarot cards to assess the energy of the week ahead and give you a little guidance about how best to utilize that energy as we enter a brand new week. So I've already pulled the cards here just to save a little time. So I'm going to go through each one. I'll let you know what I pick up around the energy of the card, the message, and then we'll discuss that. So, the first three cards that I pulled represent past, present, and future, and the fourth card kind of sums them all up. It's what I call the action card, and it gives us a sense of action to take going forward. So here we go. The first card in the past position is the Hermit. Looks like that in my deck. And this is a card about really pulling your energy back into yourself. There is a sense of solitude in the Hermit. You know, the Hermit is the archetype of someone who pulls himself out of society and goes off on his own to meditate and contemplate and do a little introspection. This is coming up in the past, and I think it really accurately depicts what we've been offered in this last year and a half or so. It's kind of been forced upon us, but there is a lot to be gained through that kind of solitude and introspection. We don't have to go live in a cave to do that. And I think going forward, it's important to recognize the need for that. So a lot of people, and a lot of them have been coming to me for readings, have been doing that introspection, have been really reassessing their lives and where they are in all aspects of their lives, their work situation, their relationships. And many people are on the brink of making changes because that introspection has led them to understand that they weren't necessarily really doing what they want to be doing, or they weren't really happy what they were doing. So the Hermit is saying, if you've been through a period of that, and a lot of us have, because we have been staying in, we have been avoiding a lot of personal social contact, we have possibly had more time to spend with ourselves. And sometimes that's uncomfortable, but sometimes it can really lead to some epiphanies about yourself, and it can strengthen your relationship with yourself, and it can help you to understand your life a little bit better. So it's something that we all need to do periodically. And because our lives are so busy most of the time, and we're taught to be busy, we're taught that, busyness is a sign of success. We don't create that time to be with ourselves. We feel like that time is wasted. In fact, we will fill that time with busy work. And it can get to the point where we are very uncomfortable being with ourselves. As an introvert, I'm pretty comfortable being with myself. But even this year and a half has been kind of extreme in that way for me. So to me, the Hermit is encouraging you to take stock of what you've learned through this time of being a hermit, what you've discovered about yourself, what kinds of awareness have been brought to you about what you really want, what really makes you happy, and what you want more of or maybe less of in your life. And pay attention to those signals and that intuitive sense of what the universe is wanting you to see about yourself and your life. And now start to take some action on that. So that's the second card. The second card here is the present time. And it's the Eight of Wands. And that's what it looks like in my deck. So in the tarot, Wands is the suit of creation and manifestation. It's about action. It's about seeing yourself as a manifester and a creator. This is not an easy thing to do on the heels of everything we've been going through. The situation has made us feel, in general, victimized and the subject of things that were happening to us that we didn't have any control over. And that all of that is, it's a valid feeling. But we do need to understand that we are still creators. We're still manifestors. We create by choosing how to respond to the things that happen to us and how to find ways to use that situation, that energy, to somehow enhance our lives and better our lives. So, in conjunction with that first card, there is that sense of wanting you to see this time as somehow benefiting you, even though it's been very difficult and tragic for a lot of people. Um, what has it taught you? We learn the most through the most challenging situations. And this card in particular, the Eight of Wands, is saying, what is it that you've discovered that you don't need anymore? What can you let go of? What needs to kind of fall out of your life? And so on my card, the word at the top is fall. And there is that sense of letting go. So, are there things in your life, literal things, material things, thoughts, beliefs, ways of living, routines, habits that you've discovered in yourself as you've been spending more time with yourself that need to go? This is a good time to work on that, to shift that. If you have some negative thought patterns that crop up, if you are highly critical of yourself and you're hearing that more clearly now, if you go into a place where you're churning worries and worries and worries, is that really benefiting you? This is the time to say, I want the things that I dwell on, the things that I have around me, the people that I have around me, to all be in my highest good, to benefit me in some way. And if they're not, then I need to make some changes here, because this is where we create. We create by making choices and decisions and by being discerning. One of my favorite words, because what it means is I'm using my higher awareness, my higher consciousness to make choices about where I place my time and energy. And instead of just randomly doing so, or doing so completely out of habit or obligation, I'm going to be careful about those choices. And I'm going to really ask, is this in my highest good? It's like cleaning out the closet. Have I worn this in a couple of years? Is this in my highest good to keep it here taking up space? So you may even find yourself literally doing that, cleaning out the closets. But it's also metaphoric. You clean out the closets of your mind, clean out the closets of your life. And as you're doing that, you're sweeping away energy to allow new energy to come in. We know that there is no such thing as a vacuum in the universe. And so when you shift energy out, you're also inviting energy in. And so again, the intention with that new energy is going to be things and people and ways of thinking and being that are in my highest good, that are going to support my growth, my higher awareness, my joys, my happiness, my self-awareness, and my self-love. So to me, both of these cards are saying, what did you learn through this period? Now put it into action by making some discerning choices about your life. It's time to take action on that. We're starting to feel the energy shift now. Things are changing. Things are opening up, literally, in the world. So open your energy up now to, invite change, to invite that shift within you, as part of the collective. We're each having our own individual experience of this shift. And your own individual experience is adding to the energy of the collective shift. So think about, how you want that to go for you. The third card in the future is the Six of Pentacles, and it looks like that. The word at the top of the card is charity. This card often feels to me that it is a card about giving and receiving. It's not just about one way. It's not just about receiving. It's not just about giving. And so again, there is that sense of shifting and the cycles of energy. And as an assessment, further assessment of your life, it's asking you to look at the areas in your life where you may be giving more than you're getting back. those things will eventually deplete our energy, frustrate us, and maybe even create a little resentment. So again, if there are things in your life that are really drawing your energy out, really draining you, and you're not getting much back in the way of an energy return, whether that's a sense of fulfillment, a sense of purpose, love, money, there are lots of ways we can get energy back. If that's not coming back in an equal amount that you're giving out, that's another thing that you want to be discerning about and make some choices about that. This card can also be encouraging you to open yourself up to receive help and assistance and guidance. Sometimes that's really difficult for us because we are taught to be independent thinkers, and we don't want to bother people, and we don't want to feel like we don't know what we're doing. But this card is saying, again, it's time to really open yourself up and, seek out the people who really align with your energy, and, and spend time with the people who really get you. And don't be afraid to ask them for support when you need it. That doesn't mean that you need to ask 50 people about every decision. That's another extreme, which comes with a lack of self-confidence. But when you're confident, you also are confident enough to know when you need something outside of yourself, when you need a little support, when whether that's emotional support or advice or just someone holding the space to allow you to feel and discuss and vent whatever it is that you're holding in. So, very clearly the trajectory of this reading is asking you to continue that introspective phase that we started a year and a half ago, but now move it into a place of action. Move it into a place where you're saying, this is what I want to change about my life. This is what no longer serves me. This is what I want more of. And if you're not sure about what those things are yet, it's time to start to get a little clarity and just be open to that change. That's not an easy thing for us humans to do. We don't like change, but change is natural. It's normal. Just look out in nature and you can see that things are constantly changing, dying off and being reborn and growing, and everything changes. But we humans tend to resist and avoid that. And then we start to feel like our lives are kind of flat, and when we feel a little stuck. So you don't have to have it all figured out. You just want to be willing to step on the path towards something better and have an intention for that. You don't have to have a really detailed intention, like I want this one thing or this one person in my life. You want the intentions to be more about how you want to feel. I want to feel fulfilled and happy. I want to feel purposeful. I want to feel loved. I want to feel supported. I want to have fun. Those are good intentions that kind of leave the field open for how those things can come into your life and what they might be. But be willing to let go. We tend to cling to things and situations and people so much because we're afraid to let go. Sometimes, the letting go is the hardest thing to do, even when we know it's not good for us. This is a time to start to let go. And if it feels right to let go, even if it feels a little scary and a little sad, if it feels right, that's the universe saying, okay, we want to give you this energy over here, but right now there's not enough room in the closet. So let's clean some of that stuff out. So the action card is the card that sums everything up and kind of gives us a sense of the action going forward. And it's this Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles in my deck is represented by the Venus of Willendorf figure, which is an ancient carved figure that was found depicting a society that really revered the feminine. It is the ultimate divine feminine figure. And the queen aspect of this card is also about the divine feminine energy. But the pentacles aspect is more earthy. Pentacles often represents money and work, but it can also just represent our material lives. So there is a sense of bringing those two things together, bringing the divine into the very material world, bringing your intuition into your thinking mind, not separating, your logical, practical, earthly human life from your spiritual life. To me, this is the ultimate sense of, some sense of enlightenment, is to see that those things work together and that they're both part of you, that you can be intuitive at work, that you can allow your emotions to flow in situations where you're used to holding them in. The divine feminine is this kind of watery energy. It's flowing, and it allows energy to move through us. The divine masculine is more thought-based, more intellectual, more assertive. It has nothing to do with gender. It has to do with different types of energy and how we define them. Unfortunately, we have emphasized the masculine for many, many decades, millennia. And again, that Venus of Willendorf represents a time where the divine feminine was seen as important. I think the huge shift that we're going through right now is a shift toward honoring that divine feminine again. It's not edging out divine masculine, it's seeing them work together and seeing them being more equitable, both within ourselves and in the world in general. We've been through a period where we've seen the results of a lack of compassion, a lack of intuition, a lack of feeling. And some of those things have horrified us. So we're understanding, hopefully, many of us, that that divine feminine energy is crucial to our survival and our growth and our sense of enlightenment, if you want to call it that. So to me, this is saying the card is also reversed. And so when I read a reversed card, the way I interpret it is that it's more internal than external. So once again, there is this sense of being aware of yourself as an individual expression of the collective shift and saying, how can I honor that part of me, whether you're male or female or any other identity, you still have that divine feminine energy within you. How can I honor that more? And how can I use it more in my life? How can I use my intuition and listen to it more? How can I stop and pause before I make the default intellectual logical decision and go into the heart center and say, how does this really feel? And how can I be kinder to myself and more compassionate with myself? How can I be willing to change? To allow my emotions to flow, to stop apologizing when tears flow, to stop feeling like I'm too sensitive or too emotional, and in fact see that as a beautiful part of life. Emotions, again, are something we don't accept. We don't want to be uncomfortable by other people's emotions. So we spend a lot of time telling children to stop crying, don't be angry, don't express that. And we grow up thinking that those emotions are negative. Emotions are part of that watery divine feminine energy. They're part of our lives. We don't want to get immersed in them and always operate from that emotional place, but we want to honor them. So honoring the divine feminine is honoring that heart space, which is really, really crucial, both within yourself as an individual and the collective. So we are in the midst of a big shift. I've talked about it before. It's not new. It's been moving for a long time, but I think we're at a crucial part of this shift right now. And again, it's like so the universe took us by the shoulders a year and a half ago and said, now I want you to sit down and I want you to think about your life, and I want you to think about your world and see if you can come up with something better. And a lot of us have. So, see what you've come up with. Even if you feel like your life is pretty good, there's always room for growth and expansion. There's always room to learn something more. There's always room to amp up your self-love. Always. Until the day we leave here, we'll have those opportunities and beyond. It's what we exist for. We exist for expansion. I just posted a meme about that yesterday, about how the universe is constantly expanding and we're aspects of the universe. So we have that opportunity all the time as well. How do you want to use that expansion in your life right now? What's next? Where do you want to go from here? What changes do you feel like you want to make in your life in the way that, and not just outside life, external life, but internal life? Thoughts and the ways that you operate and how you make decisions, the way your mind works. We can change those things. And again, as we shift, we're also shifting the collective. We need to understand how powerful we are in our energetic selves, in the way that we think and the way that we discern and make choices and judgments. It's powerful. You're not just a tiny speck in the universe. You're a gigantic force of energy. So remember that. Think about how that can affect your week this week. This sounds like a lot of work, but it doesn't have to be. This is another part of your joyous journey. You can see it that way. You can start to embrace change a little bit more than you're used to. You can start looking at your life a little bit more closely and use discernment. Turn the volume up on that a little bit and see how that works for you. All right. Well, I hope that's been helpful for the week ahead. I'll be back here again next Monday at noon Eastern Time with another reading for the week. So I'll see you then. Thanks for joining me and have a great week. Bye.